Hello everyone, it's Tom the Taxi Driver. Be sure to stay tuned because we're going to go through this bit of 90s footage and we're going to uncover a lot about London. Let's get started. That's the Lexington pub on the left hand side. This is the junction of Penton Street and Pentonville Road. Really forgot that then. I've been out the cab for a week. Interestingly, that's all a single pink line on there. Just from memory, I'm thinking that's going to be a double pink line now. Single pinks are quite rare across London. Basically, taxis aren't actually allowed to stop on single pinks, technically. What strikes me as well is how quiet this little stretch of Pentonville Road is. This is like at the junction of Angel Islington, like St John Street. We're heading eastbound now. But there's hardly anyone on the pavements. I just feel like that would be rammed. Like, this traffic is somewhat typical. There's nothing different there in terms of traffic because this is the closest thing to like a major arterial road in London, like a major ring road, if you will. And yeah, this is just very much standard going across the Pentonville Road eastbound. It didn't take long. Look, they've got a cyclist on the pavement. Even in the 90s, commonplace. Although probably more was dumb about it back then. He probably, you know, in the course of his career, probably did get a fine. And jumping a red light and turning left on a forward-only arrow. We've got railings here. Those railings aren't there anymore. I think they'd be quite useful, to be honest, in modern-day London. God knows why they removed them, because obviously it stops people mounting pavements. I guess maybe from an accident point of view, they look a bit disgusting if an Uber car was to crash into them. So bring back these railings, I say. Nothing else has changed about this junction. That building looks the same. The way that the traffic's feeding right here, all the same. So you see this car that comes along with his indicator on, right? I don't even know what car that is. Was it an old? Anyway, you see how he had his indicator on and he's cutting in right. That's actually because there's only one lane of traffic there turning right. So he's actually come in the forward lane and he's cutting in front. Again, old habits die hard. Cabby, there we go. There's our first cab driver. I have no idea what the vehicle is. Way before my time. You guys know what to do. Pop it in the comments down below. This all looks like exactly the same. There is literally no change to this at all. The layout's the same. The way that cyclist comes through there like that. There's no line in the middle of the road. So now it's very distinctly there's a left lane and the right lane. And most of it is a bit of a bus lane. But this, it's crazy because it's just such a wide road. And it's just like, yeah, just figure your own way out. You can see there is someone in front of the taxi that is positioned to the right. Most likely they're going to be doing the right into Central Street. I like that, just kind of a bit of intuition. It's like when you go down the Mall, you know, you don't need road lines like separating bits of the Mall because it's just like everyone kind of figures it out along the way. Notice how there's no identifier in the rear window. This is pre-identifiers. Now, of course, we either have a green or a yellow identifier depending on which area of taxi drive you are. And this plate on the back, we can't quite see the detail, but this would have been Metropolitan Police. So that little blue logo above those numbers, Met. Because this was when the Metropolitan Police used to run the whole public carriage office. So the plate doesn't look too different. The font's a little bit different now because obviously now it's the Johnson typeface because everything to do with TfL is, of course, the Edward Johnson typeface. I don't know when bus lanes became the thing either because, again, I've only just known bus lanes as the sort of de facto. There's clearly, along this stretch of City Road, there is no bus lanes there. Yeah, all those buildings on the left, they've been knocked down and rebuilt. The McDonald's is still there. The petrol station is still there, of course. Look at that. So 72 pence a litre. We're on double that now. What, 146 or so? That's not bad going for like 30 years, I guess. Right, this is all seriously different. The right-hand side remains the same. Right-hand side, you can just about see a little eye there because it's the Moorfields Eye Hospital. The left, entirely different. So that's where Jamie Oliver's number 15 used to be, like Westland Place. And this big red building, that's all gone now. That's all been entirely redeveloped. But I'm super interested at this point because they're going to the Old Street roundabout. Let's see how well it flows. Straight through those green lights. This has been the smoothest bit of the journey. There's always someone parked there currently anyway. And look, a roundabout. Flow on through. Look how wide and massive that is. They didn't even have to stop to slow down. Trees there. Look at the trees. They're on Old Street. Nice. No congestion there. Look at everyone just kind of just mixing and redoing lanes and stuff. Oh, wow. Is that? Ooh. What happened there? He was in the right-hand lane, but he didn't go down Great Eastern Street. What happened? So you've got a left. He's turning right into, I can't remember the name of it, but it takes you into Leonard and Epworth Street and all that. Yeah, you can't go down Great Eastern Street. You're just forced into Old Street. Look at that, like 3 lanes going. I mean, traffic is flowing a lot better. Holiday Inn. I think it was a Holiday Inn there, like Holiday Inn Express. Bloody hell. This is blowing my mind already because this section of Old Street, never knew this, it's just one-way eastbound. Now, of course, it runs 2-way. Can be a little bit slow there, but might be because of the establishments that are there, bars and things like that. The other thing, you've got to go watch this because they're listening to current radio, like, of the time. Obviously, it's all 90s. This sounds exactly the same as when I drive my taxi because I listen to Absolute Radio 90s. The thing is, this route that he's driving, so starting from Pentonville Road, going all the way through Old Street, and then what I now know as Great Eastern Street, or that 2-way bit of Great Eastern Street, is like a major arterial road. So that's absurd because Charlotte Road is a tiny little road. Like now it's pretty much pedestrianised. But to think all that traffic that wants to go down towards like, I don't know, down to the embankment, out towards Canary Wharf, is then forced down this. I mean, maybe, like, the reason why Great Eastern Street, Old Street and everything's so popular is because it's right on the edge of the congestion charging zone. And back in the 90s, there would have been a lot more routes and options that people could drive. They could go into the city and wiggle their way through and have all these little different roads. So it's probably not as bizarre an idea as I might think, but it's because I see Great Eastern Street, Old Street as a wash with traffic, basically. So I think that's Rivington? I don't know if it's Rivington or not. And that then brings you out to Curtin Road. Now, of course, Curtin Road is one-way northbound. That looks no different. And look at this. You go forward over into underneath the bridge there. So you can only taxis can do this forward, where that cyclist has come from, cycling the wrong way down a one-way. Oh, I wonder if there was still a petrol station then. It's like a yard now where they have like an outdoor eating sort of market. Yeah, it is. Look, there's a petrol station on the right. It's a Texaco. Whoa, there's no bridge. There's no overground. It's pre-overground. Shoreditch High Street, like the stations, obviously, where those billboards are on the left is, of course, Box Park. And one of the big sights when you drive down Shoreditch High Street, going towards Bishopsgate, is that you see the bridge that spans over the road. It's not there. So there's no bus lane also coming northbound. So taxis, buses, cycles can come northbound up Shoreditch High Street. This is, you can clearly see, everything is going southbound. No one gets this right. Even today, he's gone from the right and he's drifting over into this lane. Look at that, like, signage across there. Like, how disgusting does that look? Look at that. Look. There's a metro cab. There is still one metro cab at the time of recording this, summer of 2023. This metro cab that's in this video, there is still one, somehow, working in London. I think it must have had a conversion to, Euro 6 or something, because it's still out and about working on the streets. So it's mad to think that this from the 90s and there's someone still driving that same vehicle. Now in today's video, I'm travelling back in time, but I want to tell you about a resource I use whenever I travel, and that is NordVPN. Nord is a virtual private network which anonymises your internet and protects you wherever you may be. With one membership, you can put NordVPN on 6 devices. So I have it on my laptop, my iPhone, whatever you want to protect. Just log in, hit the quick connect, and then from there you can pick whichever country you want to be in. So this has additional benefits as well, that you can get cheaper flights. Recently, I just went to South Africa, and if you put yourself in the country that you wish to fly to, so it thinks I'm booking a return journey, which works out remarkably cheaper than just doing it from the UK. It's super simple to use, it works in the background, and it gives you all those benefits and more. To get the very best deal, go to nordvpn.com/Tom the Taxi Driver, or click the link down below, and pick their 2-year plan, because that will give you a bonus month for free. And it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Give it a go, get the most from it, see what you think of the service, and let me know what you think. Now, from enhancing your travel experience, let's travel back to the 90s. City of London well ahead of the curve. Look at that nice little separated, segregated cycle lane going down Bishopsgate. What's wrong with that? Just do more of that. So they point out the police vehicle checkpoint here on Bishopsgate. Yeah, so these were put in towards the end of the 1980s, just because of possible threats of the IRA bombings in the city, and they've remained there ever since. Now that instantly, this view I've got here is completely different now. If you look at it from Bishopsgate, looking downwards in this way now, you've only got one big square block there. Now that's, I don't know what that is, but that's definitely been demolished now. If you look at this view now, it's just a skyline, because you can see possibly bits of Tower 42, but you'll see the cheese grater, the Gherkin, so many buildings in that eastern part, the Bishopsgate cluster, where they stick all the tall buildings in the City of London. Oh, hold on a minute, that gives a bit of an indication of the time. Ford Focus there, T-Reg. So that would have been one of the very first Ford Focuses made, I believe. T98, I think? That car is pretty much brand new. But so many more suits. You don't see suits in London. And interesting one as well, I had a passenger in before and they said, ever notice how everyone's got a backpack and like a water bottle? Like everyone's so kind of utilitarian now. All these people who come into commuting, no one's wearing a backpack. There's not many. Like obviously the women have got handbags. Blokes ain't got backpacks. Forward. Can you turn right now? Look, so there's a. I was thinking maybe you could turn right into Liverpool Street Station, but no, there's a solid railing there. Well, that's interesting then, because it means that you can only, if you leave that rank, you can only turn left out of there. But then again, this might not be, the rank might not be on Liverpool Street, I don't know. Yeah, that whole building on the left, that's too much, because that's Sushi Samba now, that one on the left there. All of those buildings are different, apart from that one over on the far right corner, I'd say, behind the Saab. So we're going down towards London Bridge direction. Well, look, a TX1. I mean, that would have been fairly new. R-Reg. So we've seen a T-Reg. So this is probably about 2 years old, I reckon. Look at that little bridge walkway there. That ain't there anymore. It's quite hilarious, actually, because the dialogue you hear between them, they're like going, oh, that wasn't very clear on the map. Obviously, they're having to physically navigate. Geezer there hailing down a cab. Lovely. Must be a cab behind this person. Knowledge boy. So that C90 scooter going past, you can see there's a Perspex board on there. No left turn. That's interesting. So that's Warwick Lane there, but yeah, no left turn. I mean, you can do that all day long now. By the looks of it, there's only one way northbound, and it looks like it's only going to be left turn out. I can just see on that scaffolding, hoarding bit on the right there is a blue arrow saying you must turn left there. Currently, if you do a left into Old Bailey, you're forced into Limeburner Lane, and that then forces you a left onto Ludgate Hill. There's nothing else you can work around there. So I'd be very interested to see what happens as a result of this left turn here. Yeah, force right, taking into Limeburner Lane. No one on the taxi rank. No one uses that taxi rank on Limeburner Lane. It's outside Santander, but yeah, I've never seen anyone use that genuinely to rank there. Maybe they did back in the day. I am quite astounded, actually, because I thought it was an attitudinal thing that people jump out in traffic more now. But there seems to be just as many people doing it in this video. I think they're maybe a little bit more courteous when they do it, but look there, look. I mean, they're like tourists. Rather than a zebra crossing, that's now a traffic lights. See, I don't get that. Why can't that be a zebra crossing still? Zebra crossings are great because it's dependent on the flow of people. Oh, wow, look at that. Jesus. Whoa, that is a big building they knocked down. I mean, look at that. So when they built the New Change, because they've turned left into New Change. This is New Change Shopping Centre on the right-hand side. Look at how big that building is. Mega. They knocked all of that down to put New Change in. Look, Holborn Circus. Look at the sign. Look, you can go around Holborn Circus. You can come back on yourself to get Smithfield. Not allowed to do that right turn anymore. Interesting. Didn't know that. Now, I think they must have moved. You see that statue there who's just tipping his hat? So that's the statue of Prince Albert there. I think, though, I'm pretty certain that statue is further back now, because by the looks of it, they use that as a roundabout, and you can see there's taxis that are turning right at this point. So that would have, I think that statue is, I'm pretty certain that statue is back where that lamppost is. It looks thriving, this part of like Holborn. I mean, now it's like a ghost town. There's nothing there. Everything's packed up there. Like, I mean, Starbucks has closed down from there. There's nothing there. I mean, there's a to-let sign there, Reed Recruitment Agency, but it's bustling. This part of Holborn I haven't seen in, well, I've probably haven't seen it like that in my lifetime, but it's got a bit more of an energy to it. Pendrell's Oak, that's the Weatherspoons on the left there. So this looks quite good. They've actually got like an island here. This is probably good for like the current use, actually. They're going to redevelop all this area anyway to make it a lot more friendly for cyclists, because it is an awful area. But this crossing, if you're going like down Southampton Row into Kingsway, it's quite a long crossing. And you can see here there's like a traffic light in the middle, so it keeps people turning left. It's like a clear indication this is how you turn left. So yeah, it's nice. So Kingsway, where that bus has pulled in, is railings all along Kingsway there. But there's not in this video. So it's mad how there was railings up on Pentonville Road, but not down here on Kingsway where they are now. So they've removed railings in some areas, they've put them back in. He's going to do a right into Covent Garden by the looks of it. Bloody hell, look. Another knowledge boy. So this probably would have been the golden era of the knowledge. You know, towards the end of the 90s. That Modern Times documentary would have just come out, and I'm sure that would have been a big marketing drive for people to take up the knowledge.
The Inn revenue are under the impression the average cabbie earns about £10,000 a year, after tax and expenses. Seems a rather small reward for at least 2 years unpaid labour on the knowledge.
But Honda C90, that was the bike of choice because they were just relatively inexpensive and so cheap. I mean, it would have been great to be driving as a taxi driver back then. No sat-navs, no competition, you know, no worry that there's going to be someone recording your every movement or a CCTV is going to catch you and a fine's going to land up in the post. You're just free. There's just none of that rubbish. So you can't go forward into Long Acre. You go along Great Queen Street, go past the Masonic Lodge, and you're forced right. Look. So you're forced up Drury Lane. Right, 3-point turn, and they're going to carry on up Drury Lane. So I'm thinking they want to get into Covent Garden somewhere. So the only accessible option they've got would be a left in the Shorts Gardens. You can't do this anymore, by the way, because everything in Covent Garden is basically trying to force you out. This is how it used to be when I did the knowledge. Much better. You can actually drive freely around Covent Garden. South Park the movie. Look at this. No, it's nostalgia on the side of a bus. Wow. This is junction of Great Queen Street, coming back out into Kingsway again. Back in the good old days when the Aldwych used to be a roundabout, basically. So forced left and they've got to go all the way around the Aldwych. BT van, look at that. Now that is, nothing says more 90s than British Telecom. So now they're in the south side lane, which is actually what gets you over Waterloo Bridge. I don't know if they know this, if they know they're going to be in the wrong lane here. Because they presumably want to be going straight along the Strand or back up the Aldwych. Waterloo Bridge don't look much different. Shell building. This would have been just about the time of the London Eye. Because London Eye was obviously putting for... Look at this, look, 2 lanes on Waterloo Bridge. Can you imagine it? But yeah, this would have been just about the time the London Eye was going up, I imagine. August 1999. It was put up for the year 2000 celebration. Bit of over-ranking going on for the Charing Cross rank. Now, this is one of those ranks that's only really quite busy sort of in the mornings. So this might indicate the fact that this is going to be more of an early morning drive, I would say. Or the habits of this rank might have changed. But generally, you don't get that many cabs on this rank unless it's proper kipper or it's really early in the morning. People don't really rank that much in the afternoons. I wonder what it does. I wonder if it peels you off or if you can still go around King Charles I Island. Oh, wow. Jesus, look at that. Ooh, that's confusing my brain. Ah! Right. I am led to believe this would have been back when you could drive all the way around Trafalgar Square. Basically, Trafalgar Square was like a giant roundabout. So you drive over the top, right by the National Portrait Gallery and come round. Because obviously everything is going west. There's nothing coming towards us. Right, so like a bus, and it looks like a taxi lane as well. I think you can just make out the word taxi underneath there. To do a right and then go around Trafalgar Square. Nice! That's definitely opened my eyes to how London used to look. If you've made it this far in the video, then do a favour and hit that subscribe button down below. And in terms of the next video to watch, I recommend the London Places Nicknames. There's loads of historical context as to why certain places in London got the nicknames they did. I'll leave that on screen for you now.